So we've got here for you today a Thai-style rice noodle tofu veg stir fry. So I'm going to start off by making a little dressing that's going to go on it. So we want the flavours to infuse. I've got in this pot a couple of 100 mils of water. I'm going to add in here some star anise, 6 star anise. Star anise is a really amazing spice. It's got a beautiful flavour, aniseed. If you don't like aniseed, go easy on these, 1 or 2 might be enough. I'm quite a fan of it, so I'm going to put 6 in here. Turn that onto the heat. We can turn that straight up to a high heat. Once it comes to the boil, we can basically just turn it off and let it sit. So I'm going to put a little bit of chilli in with this one. I'm going to be using ginger in the stir fry, so what I'll do is I'll make use of the skin and just roughly chop that off. Just throw those pieces of skin into our pot with the star anise and chilli. Here I have some gaffer lime leaf. These are really amazing sort of flavour. They're difficult to find fresh. If you can get fresh, fresh is best. I have a plant at home, but it only has about 3 leaves on it at the moment, so I thought I'd leave it alone and use the dry ones today. Along with this, we'll add a bit of sesame oil, about 2 or 3 tablespoons, some tamari. This is the main part of the sauce in here. So roughly 100 to 150 mils. So instead of just using that plain tamari or soy sauce, we're just lifting it with a bit more flavour in there. And that star anise really comes through with that nice aromatic aniseed flavour. So meanwhile, we've got most of our veggies prepared here. Also, I'm going to chop this last little piece of chilli. Great, that piece of ginger that we've peeled. These sort of ingredients, the ones that are the key flavours, the ginger, the chilli, etc. It doesn't pay so much to follow a recipe. Remember, always recipes only guideline. You've really got to use what you like the most. Use your own judgment. If you like ginger, put more ginger in. If you like chilli, put more chilli in. Never be afraid to experiment. Recipes are always only guidelines. If you don't have something, use something else instead. You can generally always make do. So I've got a pot of water on here that we're going to be cooking the rice noodles in. Rice noodles are a good alternative if you don't like the wheat, if you're gluten free. Quite good to use in Italian dishes too, also as a replacement for regular pasta, although they are traditionally for the Asian style food. Rice noodles will take about 4 minutes to cook, so we won't start on those this yet. We'll turn on our wok frying pan to start cooking our veggies. Meanwhile, our dressing here has come to the boil, so I'm going to turn that down to low. Leave it on a low for about 5 to 10 minutes, then it can just be turned off. And you can make this earlier in the day too, and the longer it sits, the more the flavours are going to really infuse into that. So into our wok, we're going to use a bit of peanut oil. As well as just a touch of sesame oil. Whenever you're doing stir fry cooking, you always want to cook on a high heat, and it's a good idea to have everything ready to go before you start, and that way you can just throw it all in. It's quick and easy, just as long as you're putting things in the right order so you're not overcooking any ingredients. It's a great sort of dish that you can do when you've been working all day, you come home and you just want something quick and easy that's nutritious to eat. So the first thing I'm going to pop in will be the tofu. Tofu, it's always nice to use the organic when you can. Tofu needs to basically fry a little first in the oil, and that way once it gets a slight coating on it, it's going to absorb the flavours much easier. Often you have tofu and it's quite dry or it's lacking flavour, and that's because it's just been merely mixed through. But by giving it a little fry in the sesame oil first, it's going to really take on the flavours of the other ingredients. Just while that tofu's getting started, we'll get going with our rice noodles. The water's boiling nicely there. So we'll pop those in. Depending on what type you have, sometimes you need to break them slightly. I tend to get these ones, and if you don't break them a little bit, you end up with pieces that are about 2 meters long. Difficult to get in the mouth in one mouthful. The thing with rice noodles is that there's a slight tendency for them to stick together, so as soon as you get them in the water, give them a really good stir and make sure that they're broken or that they've loosened up nicely. Any pieces get stuck together and they'll obviously take twice as long to cook, so you're going to get raw pieces of rice noodle in there. So around 4 minutes, depending on the size of the one you have. These ones that I have are fairly thick, so they may take slightly longer. I've loosened up nicely, give the tofu a little bit of a shake. Now stir fry veg, it's key to put things in a particular order because you don't want things to be too overcooked. So next one I'm going to put in is the cauliflower. Cauliflower is taking the longest to cook out of the ingredients I have. Things like broccoli you want to be putting in only at the last minute. The broccoli, the corn, ginger, chilli I'll put in towards the end. Always remember just to give the rice noodles a stir. It doesn't need to be constant, as long as you're making sure they're not sticking. And sometimes just at the start you can place a lid just to give that cauliflower a little help, a little steam. Just while we're giving those a minute or two, we'll get some coriander chopped up ready to go in at the last minute. Just take a nice handful there. Pop our ginger to one side. Just get it all into a nice tight bunch. And give it a rough chop. Coriander, like ginger, helps to aid digestion as well as giving it that nice fresh flavour. Just check the noodles. Best way to do this is just to try to get one piece. Take it in your hands if you can, and just squeeze it. If it feels like it's still really dense, then just put it back. You can also taste it. "30 more seconds and that'll be fine." Meantime, I'm going to add just a touch of the asphodel. Got some cashew nuts. You can also use peanuts or anything you have handy. We'll strain our rice noodles. Though we want them to stay warm, we just give them a quick rinse just to remove any of that excess starch. Pop them back in the pot. Give it a little dressing of peanut oil just so they're not going to stick together on us. Give it a good stir, making sure you get plenty of oil around there. Meanwhile, in our pan, now throw our carrots in, capsicum, bit of cabbage. You can also put the ginger, chilli, put our corn in, just going to put it onto the bigger element as we want to cook this now on a high heat as possible and just basically keep that moving, keep it stir frying. Meanwhile, our dressing here, I've taken it off the heat. Flavours have come through nicely in that. If you find that it has reduced down too much, you can also add a little bit of water to it, because if you have boiled and it's reduced down, it'll become a little salty and the flavours will become too strong. This, however, should be fine. Just take another pot here, strain it straight in there into the pot. Lastly, our broccoli will go in. Try not to throw the food everywhere in the pan. Now, a little bit of this infused dressing I'm going to mix in with the noodles just to coat them slightly, although we want most of it to go in the stir fry itself. As you can see there, I've just given a light coating just to give a little bit for the noodles to finish up soaking some flavour into. This sort of stir fry, you can use any vegetables you've got in the fridge, anything that's suitable for stir frying. The most important thing is just the order that you're putting in, so you're not overcooking your green vegetables and things like that. I've got also some bean shoots here. If you ever put bean shoots into the stir fry, put them in at the very last minute once you've taken it off the heat. So we're almost there with that one. In goes our nicely infused dressing. Give that a gentle mix. I'll now turn that off the heat. Place the bean shoots in. Juice of half a lemon or lime. Freshly chopped coriander. And we're ready to get cleaned up and serve that one. So I'll just give our pan one last mix, just gently loosening the bean shoots through there. Coriander, and the flavours smell amazing. So your digestion starts with a sense of smell. Once the smell gets the flavours of the food, starts to simulate the saliva, the digestive juices get ready That's how you want to feel before you eat. You want to feel, yum, I'm hungry, I'm ready to eat. And that way your food is already on its way to good digestion before you even start. Let's give the noodles one more stir just to loosen them up. And we'll just make a nice bed of noodles on the plate. Depending on how hungry you are, of course. Some of our stir fry resting on top. Making sure you get a bit of everything in there. Just as we've got plenty of that nice dressing left in the pan, plus the juices from the vegetable, just tilt the pan to one side and just with a spoon, just try to get a little more of that sauce out over the top of the dish. Let's tidy up the edge of that one a little. A good garnish for this one, a bit of julienne capsicum. Just chop these finely, place them in a little iced or cool water in the fridge. Let us curl up nicely. Few of those on top just for a nice touch and a bit of colour. And there we have our rice noodle stir fry with tofu, vegetables and that nice infused dressing. Enjoy that one.